That we understand the long-run aggregate supply curve, let's turn and look at the short-run aggregate supply curve. And that's a relatively flat aggregate supply curve, not the steep one in the long run. It's a relatively flat aggregate supply curve that represents the idea that prices do not change very much in the short run and that firms adjust production to meet demand. Another way to say this is that if prices don't change much and the demand curve shifts, then firms are going to respond by changing their production levels more than a price change. So let's take a look and see what that looks like. In this case, notice that the aggregate supply curve is now much flatter. It's not perfectly vertical. So now we have a supply curve that allows for some changes in output. So if, for example, we have a demand shift to the right, that's an increase in aggregate demand, may be caused by a cut in taxes, an increase in government spending, or something else. Well, then what that's going to do is that's going to shift the aggregate demand curve, and that's going to cause prices to go up a little. They're sticky, so they're not going to go up a lot, but they might have a small increase in price level. But also matched by a much larger, or sorry, I should say, a change in output from Y0 to Y1. And obviously, the flatter the aggregate supply curve is, the more you're going to have a change in output and the less in change in price. So in the previous graph, when we looked at the vertical aggregate supply curve, a shift in aggregate demand would only cause price increases, and that was in the long run. In the short run, now we're showing that the aggregate supply curve is far flatter, and so a shift in aggregate demand now can cause a change in output. Now, also keep in mind that if you had a decrease in aggregate demand, okay, then what that would do is that would actually cause output to shift the other way, and then we'd have a fluctuation where we had Y, a lower output, let's call that Y2, okay, if this was aggregate demand 2. Okay, so the main idea is that now output in the short run will fluctuate.